We will be starting our newspaper review for today, and we'll be starting with Daily Trust, where boldly in front on the page of Daily Trust we have, after 1 year, PDP NEC finally meets, which should I say should be a celebration for them after all that struggle,
of course, yeah,
and obstacles. Next up, boldly in front, we have President Bola Tinubu right in front, celebrating 2 years of leadership and progress. As we all know, tomorrow is 29th of May, and he will be celebrating 2 years in office.
Yes.
And obviously, we know there will be a lot of reviews of what has been happening all through the country.
A lot. So let's take a look at Tribune newspaper, and the bolder headline states Tinubu writes National Assembly seeks $21.5 billion external loan, 758 billion naira pension bond. That was what we had today while we started the show. And then also we have above the bolder headlines, federal government directs 3-year ban on students caught in exam malpractices. JAM, WAEC, NECO to ban countries involved in exams fraud.
All right. Joining us to review some of the headlines on the pages of today's newspaper is Ben Shamang, former director of News Voice of Nigeria. He'll be joining us via Zoom. Hello, good morning.
Morning, and thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you for joining us. Well, I would like to start with the headline that we have on Daily Trust, which is after 1 year, PDP NEC finally meets. What do you think of that after, all the debacle that has been going on with PDP and them not being able to have their NEC meeting?
Because for a long time, PDP has not been able to meet. Now that they are meeting, I think they want to get their act together. And getting their act together, it's a kind of to launch themselves for 2027. And they've always prized themselves as the party that has never changed name, the party that has always remained solid. And every time they say every crisis is a family affair. So if it is a family affair and they are able to get it right this time around, not the kind of combustions, internal heat that is always bursting, then so be it. So it's also good to know that sometimes they say that PDP is a big school for other political parties to follow. How far that is going to be seen in the nearest future, because you have the national body that is supposed to meet to ensure that all goes out well. And the former governor of Kwara State, then president of the Senate, Bukola Saraki, has also been trying to kind of cool some frayed nerves to ensure that they move together. So let's wait and see.
All right. And this rightfully takes us to still on the front page of Daily Trust, where it is celebrating 2 years of leadership and progress of President Bola Tinubu. As we know, tomorrow is 29th of May, where he will clock 2 years in office. What are your thoughts on that, and how do you think a review of those 2 years would be?
Well, I think Tinubu will hit his chest and say that for 2 years, there are no longer queues in Nigerian filling stations. During his time, private petroleum companies, Dangote Petroleum, came on board, and that is stabilizing the country. And that is also some foreign exchange earning for the country. That's also good employment for the country. And again, they're saying that they are fighting corruption. Some members of his cabinet were thrown away and never returned. But we are yet to see prosecution in that order. And but the critics will also be saying that They have failed to give Nigerians electricity. They are not giving Nigeria the security in terms of the best of the best. So a whole lot of things need to be done. Assessing Tinubu in 2 years time in office, and he's also prizing himself as doing very well when it comes to coastal highway Lagos Calabar. So he hit his chest there, and even when he also claimed that they took charge of the third bridge across River Niger. That's another plus for Tinubu. But again, they will say PDP started it, but government too, it ought to be a kind of continuum. When a regime starts a project and stops, they should just continue. A new one should just start it because it's good for the electorate, it's good for Nigerians, not just political parties.
Okay. Let's move to the Tribune, where the bolder headline states that Tinubu writes the National Assembly and seeks $21.5 billion external loan and 758 billion naira pension bond. What are your thoughts on that, going by the fact that Nigeria has, as a country, has been on debt for, a very long time?
Yes, some 3 weeks ago, we were told that Nigeria cleared IMF loan of 3.5 billion US dollars. But again, we are going back to receiving loans. They are in Chinese currency, they are in Japanese currency, they are in Nigeria currency, then US, the dollars and euro. And the amounts are so humongous. But one is also left to question the fact that we are told that part of it has to do with pension, paying of pension. In other words, when workers are employed by a government, they do contributory pension. And are we now saying that the past regimes never paid some of these loans, or what really happened? And we ought to see that some probings are going on. If workers will work for 35 years and it's expected that every time they are paid a salary, a portion is taken and kept for them by government, so funding comes two ways, from the worker's salary and from the side of government. So if we receive this kind of a loan to sponsor pension, it means that something somewhere went wrong. But all the same, the countries that receive loans also ensure that the loans are used for what they're meant for. Now we've received loans. What is it that we have to show to Nigerians to see that, look, this loan we received for this, it has taken care of this or that critical infrastructure in terms of social amenities, the hospitals, the education sector, agriculture, security, and all that stuff. So we should be seeing all of this. And it's also the job of the National Assembly to do what they call oversight function that must be properly done, so that all monies appropriated for must be seen as have been plotted in terms of projects. So it's good that, and by law, all these loans will have to pass through the National Assembly so that it becomes a kind of a collective responsibility on the side of legislature, on the side of the executive, and of course the judiciary must also be in the know.
All right. A quick one. There's one other story that caught my attention on the Nigerian Tribune, and it was discussed earlier. The federal government directs a 3-year ban on students caught in exam malpractices. JAMB, WAEC, NECO, to ban centers involved in exams fraud. And as you know, in Nigeria, at some point, we used to, should I say, examination malpractice, and it has been thought that when it has been moved to CBT centers, it wouldn't be able to transition to that as well. It'll be cut off. But then these things are carrying on. Or what do you think about that? And what do you think the impact would be with the 3-year ban on students if caught?
I think that would be some bitter lessons, and that would also deter. Would be aspirants, or let me call them that way, those who would want to follow suit, because Nigeria, we love certificates. But if you say the students will be banned for for 3 years. Sometimes we have also seen parents that are buying certificates, that are bribing teachers behind the scene. What happens to those parents too? So they should find a way of finding them heavily to ensure that the system is sanitized. We should also ensure that not just certificates, people should be able to walk very well with their hands, with their legs, with their mouth, their eyes, so that it's not just certificate. You should be able to create wealth physically. We have people who found all sorts of certificates, and yet when it comes to work, they can't do exactly what the papers are claiming to be. I'm sure there in Daily Trust, some people must have been coming there for National Youth Service Corps, carry a very big volume and a voluminous speech and say, reduce it for a TV format, radio format, or a news format, and give it to me in the next 30 minutes. You know, the person is likely to carry the whole thing home, believing that they're going to work on it and bring it. So that tells you, in terms of standards, there is a question mark. So the fact that if students are caught cheating, they'll be banned for 3 years is good omen. Very good. That we hope that it works, not just making the law or passing some expressions.
All right, thank you very much for your time, Mr. Ben Shaman, for reviewing today's dailies. That will be all for today's Daybreak Show. It is an absolute pleasure that you stayed with us and keep on staying with us. Make sure you grab yourselves a copy and stay informed. It is fundamental, as they say, reading is fundamental. So with this, make sure you catch us tomorrow morning by 8 a.m. for another round of Daybreak on Trust TV, as well as I am Hawa Adam Kiawa. Thank you for watching.
And I am Maimuna Bagudu. Do have a great day. Bye-bye.